Dutch police refused to guard Jewish sites due to moral objections. In a shocking revelation, Dutch police officials have admitted to accommodating officers who refuse to guard Jewish sites in events due to moral objections, sparking widespread concern and controversy. This alarming practice came to light when police spokeswoman, I don't know how to pronounce her name, uh, Mireille Beentjies? I don't know. The police spokeswoman stated, quote, "We have a moral objection into we have to take moral objections into account when we make the rotas. The issue has raised serious concerns about the integrity of the Dutch police force, particularly in light of the country's history during World War II." A little bit of collaboration going on there if you're not familiar. Mm. Um,
What the
members
hell?
Members of the Netherlands Jewish Police Network have expressed deep concern with Officer Michael Theebom stating, quote, "There are colleagues who no longer want to protect Jewish targets or events. They talk about moral dilemmas, and I see a tendency emerging to give into that. That would truly mark the beginning of the end." As the debate intensifies, Dutch officials are grappling with balancing personal beliefs and professional duties, while critics argue that such practices undermine the police's fundamental responsibility to protect all citizens equally. So, this was some news that came out, and this is, I mean, obviously a big deal, um, and is quite outrageous. And um,
Is isn't Anne Frank's house in the Netherlands? It
yeah,
is right there. It's in Amsterdam. Okay. So
yeah,
this is so what the hell? Okay.
yeah,
What the
and
hell? Is this a real story? Okay, go on.
so the thing is, like, that this includes their National Holocaust Museum, by the way, where there are police that have to go to events there and they, like, refuse to eat inside the venue. Um, and the thing is that apparently, like, the police are allowed to make moral objections because, and this kind of makes sense. Like, the people making the roster of who's going to protect a site, it would be important for them to know if there's a police officer that has any sort of issue when undertaking their duty. Like, that's an important thing to keep in mind. I understand why that kind of policy exists. Now, if it's becoming a trend, that belies like a huge problem. And basically, what the National Police Commissioner was saying was that, you know, police officers refusing to guard Jewish buildings is not going to be tolerated, but there are discussions that are ongoing about how to deal with these conscientious objections, which is police staff are people and they have the right to their own views and emotions that go with them, but where people's security and is concerned, that is our top priority. We are here for everyone. And a justice
Wait,
minister said
how
that it
is
was,
she not immediately fired? There's discussions going on?
well, okay,
Like,
and I
huh.
get it. I think that the instinct to immediately fire people is a completely justified instinct, but they can't just like fire a ton of their force. Like, they need people.
They're saying that they refuse to protect. Like, I mean, if there's a firefighter and there's a house burning, I'm like, and they're not gonna put the fire out because, like, yeah, I don't like the ethnicity of the people who are burning inside, so I'm not going to put out the fire. That's an immediate, like, there's no discussions. They're like, you're fired. Like, what the hell? What?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Yeah, what the frick?
So basically, like, here's the thing, like, being a police officer should be a neutral job. People aren't robots. Like, you are going to have your feelings about one thing or another. Now, this was a crazy story for me to hear because um during, for those who don't know about me, I used to be like Antifa. And so during my tenure, um I would go to counter protest these groups that were having protests that were legitimately like white nationalist groups. And I literally saw with my own two eyes police officers defending the perimeter of these black police officers defending the perimeter of these white nationalists to do their protest. Like it because it's just their job. It's
Okay.
their job. And I'm sure that they had some personal feelings about it. I mean who wouldn't? These are people that are purposefully inflammatory. Um but they had a job to do that day. Um, and then this is why Antifa has a lot of like smooth brain correlations between like how the police uphold white supremacy because they're like, look, they're protecting them, they're upholding it, da 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 da. Um, and then there's the whole systemic angle, but that's a different matter. Um, and yeah, so the fact that this is a trend is absolutely outrageous. Um, do you have any more thoughts? Because I have one more
I,
thing I want to say, but it's a little bit off
I don't.
topic.
I just want to say, like, what is their moral dilemma of this police? I just want to figure this out, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, we're not going to guard Jewish sites. I can't believe I'm even saying this. This sounds like a dream. Like the cat lady in the live chat was saying, This is apartheid. This is apartheid in Netherlands. There's a
No.
two-tier. No, I know she's joking, but like because yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah, obviously that's it. But I'm just saying this is insane. The police. What is the objection? So, for example, I mean, technically, it is not apartheid because it's not written in the law. This is just just some cops. But what was her objection when it's just like so some Jewish sites are not going to be protected against threats. What was her reasoning? So because
It's no, you're not
yeah,
understanding. The police
mm,
spokesperson, no one has come to say that they're not going to be defended. Let me make that clear. No one has said that they're not going to be defended
says
at all.
refuse to guard Jewish sites over
They're
moral
just
dilemmas.
saying
That's
that
what it
there
said.
has been a trend of police
Yes.
officers making it clear to their superiors when making the roster to defend different sites that they have moral dilemmas or moral objections that may interfere with their ability to guard the site.
Okay, it says they refuse to guard Jewish sites over moral dilemmas. So they're refusing to do it. They're not going to do it. That's what it says.
And
Okay,
that's
but
someone on
what?
Twitter saying it. Like it's that
Hmm,
they
it's the
are just
title of that's our
talking
title.
about how they have objections to doing it. Or when they are guarding the Jewish sites, they're like refusing to they're allowed to go in there to like buy things and eat things, blah 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 blah. They're refusing to do that.
Hmm.
Some of them.
So this is not just that someone on Twitter saying it. This is what the news articles are saying. Dutch police refuse. Dutch police refuse. So they are refusing. Yes,
I
and also our title says that too.
I
Dutch
think
police
it's a
refuse.
little bit
Hmm.
more complex than that. Or Dutch police
Hmm.
officials have admitted to accommodating officers who refuse to guard Jewish sites.
Okay, so some Dutch police are refusing to guard these sites, okay, over moral reasons. Moral reason. What is their moral dilemma? That's what I want to know. What is it? What like? Does it make it clear? Does it mention it? I guess it doesn't mention.
No, it doesn't say. I don't know.
There have okay. So this, I'm reading this from the source. There are colleagues who no longer want to protect Jewish targets or events. They talk about moral dilemmas, and I see a tendency emerging to give in to that. What that would truly mark the beginning of the end. Yeah, no, they are refusing. They are refusing. They are saying that yeah, we don't want to protect these sites. And again, the moral dilemma is what? Let's for I just want to understand. The idea is like let's say try to understand these people as much as possible. Even let's assume that Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. It's not, but let's assume it is. How does that translate to not protecting Jewish sites in Netherlands? Like, I'm trying to see like how stupid do you have to be for that to make that connection. Even if Israel is the greatest evil on earth and is just doing genocide for the sake of doing genocide in Palestine, how does that translate to I'm not going to protect Jewish sites in Netherlands? I mean, I don't even know if that's their reasoning. I'm just assuming. It's just so insane. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah,
absolutely
sure. I
insane.
mean, I
Mm.
don't know. I mean, it's either guilt by association, conflating all Jews with Israel, or the I guess like the steelman position would be like, oh well, these are institutions that support the state of Israel and thereby they support its actions. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, I believe, I know people say it was more complicated than that. I believe every single one of these people should be found and immediately let go of their job. Every single one of them should be fired. This is an insane thing to tolerate. It's absolutely an insane thing to tolerate. There should be no discussions. I think I'm shocked by two things. I'm shocked once that this is even a thing in Netherlands from all places. I mean, these people should be take a tour of the Anne Frank's house, which is now a museum in Amsterdam. They should be forced to go there. But the fact that this is even a thing, I'm shocked by that in Netherlands. But I'm also shocked a second time where you said there's a discussion about what to do about this, how to accommodate these people or stuff like that. Like, what the fuck? These people these people should be fired. These people should not just be fired from this job, they should be unhireable. These people should be paying the consequences for even considering this position for the rest of their freaking lives. These people should be made an example of. Every single person that is working for the government in Netherlands should fear what could happen to them because of the example that the government made using these police officers. Even if comes at the cost to being low on staff, they should show that we will take sacrifices, we will have setbacks, because this is not something that we will tolerate at all. You think that you have the upper hand because we need you, because we need you, we have low our resources, we're low on staff. Okay, sure, we will take the setback, but we will not we will take the setback a little bit, maybe on being short on staff, but we will not take a setback on our values, because it's our values that makes us who we are as a country. So yeah, I would basically fire all of them, and I will make sure that they all are named and embarrassed, and they are all unhireable. Maybe just flip burgers for the rest of your life. That's what I want. Anyways, we have some super chats in the live chat, so maybe want to address those.
Um uh Angie is saying that's insane, heartbreaking. Thank you as always. Thank you for the super chat, Angie. Um
Thank you.
John is celebrating his membership for 5 months and saying now you can say the fascists are police, Susanna.
That's a good one.
And Gajan is saying, thank you for the super chat, Gajan. Would it be better for non-neutral persons to fake neutrality and performed weaponized incompetence, or have them speak up beforehand? And I think this is actually a good point.
Patricia.
You know, the fact that there is a mechanism for the police to disclose if they have a moral objection or they believe that they would not be performing their job to the best of their capacity for certain sites or whatever is an important mechanism to have within the police force. Like if you think that there's going to be like a conflict of interest, or like when you're doing, at least in the US, when you're doing jury duty, if you do not think that you can actually be a neutral observer of that, prosecution in that case, you are excluded from jury duty because that would be a dereliction of your duty. So having that form of disclosure within the police, I think, is is an important mechanism. It's a very important
Yes,
mechanism.
it is. But then when you admit that, then you cannot do your duty. So you shouldn't be a cop.
Okay, but then that's just gonna lead people to just not disclosing it at
Not
all.
Yeah, but so what do I? So yeah, this is a difficult position. Okay, but if you are, for example, a doctor, and you say that, well, I refuse to operate on black people. Okay, should we say like, okay, well, let this person remain a doctor because we want to make sure that other doctors who have these same feelings come and announce, like, a firefighter, like if a firefighter is honest to you and we're like, you know what, if I see black people burning, I'm not going to put them out. I'm just being honest with you. So
Mhm.
should we allow them to keep their job so that other firefighters are honest about this position? I don't know how I feel about that. I think that person should lose their job. So you could come like, Armin, well, if you take his job, then other firefighters are not going to be honest um about their feelings. And I get that, but at the same time, I don't still see the solution being that that firefighter gets to keep his job. I don't see that as a solution here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's important if someone does have like one of these issues that they're not going to be performing their duty to the best of their ability. Like it's important to know that. But then the next thing is like, okay, well, then do we tolerate that?
I mean, we
No,
shouldn't be tolerating that,
no, we shouldn't
obviously. I
tolerate
mean,
it. But it's true.
okay. I'm not this is as bad. I'm not, when I say a firefighter seeing a house being on fire and realizing that this is a black family and refusing to put it out. This is what I feel like people, when it's Jews, they don't get as outraged as they should be. If every time I say, for example, a black family, like, I see Americans are like, oh my God, that is racist. And I have to make that example for people to realize how bad this is when we would do it to Jews. But it's so telling to me
No,
that
I
I
mean that's
have to
obvious
use.
to me.
Yeah, I know you know that, but I'm just saying it's so telling to me that I always have to make the black comparison for people to be properly shocked, because they're not properly shocked when it's against the Jews for some reason. Even people who are against anti-Semitism, the racism against Jewish people shocks them less, especially if they're American, compared to the racism against, like, a black person. Because I mean, I get it, because they have a history of, anti, it's in their books, it's in their movies, so they're more properly shocked by anti-black racism because they have been trained to be shocked by it. And I just think that we need to do more proper training for people to be properly shocked by anti-Jewish racism. Anyways, and someday maybe, we could get people to be properly shocked by anti-atheist bigotry. We're far away from that, but someday we will get there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised about this happening in the Netherlands at all because I know someone who left the Netherlands years ago, probably over 10 years ago, because of the anti-Semitism that they were experiencing. So, I mean,
Mm, yeah.
also, I just want on October 7th, Gert Wilders like published a little opinion piece and one thing that I just thought was funny that I wanted to highlight is, people call him far right, but he in this piece, I found out about it because he calls out this issue with the police and says that they should be fired and, um, all that stuff, but it's just hilarious to me that they call this man far right, and he literally ends this piece with Am Israel Chai.
I mean, they call Tommy Robinson far right too, and he's a Zionist,
Yeah,
which is weird.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.